What's up, y'all? Today we're going to be breaking down our up and forward, down and forward exercise. What this is going to do is it's going to help you focus on how to isolate certain parts of your body, mainly your core, certain type of leg muscles, and definitely where the weight is placed in your feet. And it's going to help you understand when to engage certain things, when to not, and understand just the importance of how to balance and stay steady when we're in motion. So let's jump right in. First thing you're going to do is you're going to turn from first position into first position parallel. All that means is that you're turning your feet so that you have your feet, your heels and toes together. Posture's all going to be the same. If you need to, please take a moment to go ahead and review that. How we stand, nice and separated, shoulders nice and relaxed, arms up nice and strong. I'll show you a couple different angles here and here. Cool. So let me help you identify the count structure first. It's going to be just like I said, up 4, down 4 with your legs starting on your left. Now, here's how the count structure is going to go. You're going to set your met to a very nice, comfortable tempo. Let's say between 90 and 100. What you're going to do is you're going to count like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4. Now, I didn't have my posture or my hands up because I was helping you demonstrate what the count structure is going to be. So just focus on that part for right now. You'll notice when I got up to the top of where my knee should be around count 4, I was in a shape called a coupe. All that means is that you're pointing your toes straight down so that they're perpendicular. See it from the side. See it from this other side here. And this will be on both feet. If you don't really understand how to achieve this foot shape, all you really need to do is think about pushing your ankle forward, your heel up and your ankle forward. So check this out here, bringing the ankle up, the heel forward. And that is how you achieve a very basic coupe. So that's the shape that we need to see as soon as your foot comes off the ground. Now, the reason we use the words up and off is because it helps to correlate with where our feet are moving in space and in time. So I start 5, 6, 7, 8, and up and off. When I say off, my foot is off the ground. When I say up, my foot's starting to come up. Really basic correlation relationship. Now, really basic exercise here. I'll show you a couple times, then we'll just lay it out. So here we go. Posture's here. I'll count it out for right now, then I'll set a met. 5, 6, 7, 8, and up and off. 3, 4. I'm stopping here. Notice how in the halfway shape, the arch of my foot is roughly around the knee area of my standing leg. To really understand how to stabilize yourself there, you really want to think in opposition, something that we may not be able to address in full, but let me see if I can give you a rough idea. What you're going to think about is really about the foot weight placement that Genevieve taught you guys in the first video, thinking about keeping the weight towards the center of the foot and really pushing down through that platform to allow your standing leg to stay stable. Now, you're also really going to need to think about lifting up from your head and lifting up through the rib cage here to keep yourself nice and tall as you move your legs. Now, there's going to be a couple tendencies for a couple people that if you have never done this exercise before. One of those being, when I start, instead of bringing my knee forward and up, I'm going to bring my foot back. So watch this. This is what we don't want to see. We don't want to see you bring your foot back and up. That's not the point of this exercise. You really got to lift up out of the hips, bring the knee forward, and allow the foot to trace the other side of your standing leg on both left and right. For your exercise, you're going to do this, let's say, 4 times. So you go up with the left, up with the right, back down, that's 1. You'll do that 4 times, and you'll finish in a halt in first position, posture still nice and strong. The goal here is to really isolate the upper and lower body so that only your lower body is moving. You notice when I demonstrated it a couple times that my upper body is nice and strong here, and the only thing moving are my legs. Now, it's going to take a lot of mental power to really think about what muscle groups you're engaging. Like right here, I'm slightly engaging my core, I'm slightly engaging my quad here, I'm lifting up out of the hips, and I'm pushing down through my foot, right through the platform of my foot. Now I'm going to show you how to do this exercise one time without horn, with just strong hand posture here, and then the challenge level will be one time with the horn. So let me show you. I set my met to about 90 BPM. Let's give it a shot. 5, 6, 7, 8, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4. Last time and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4. And I'm done. So, what you need to think about is there are a couple tendencies here. What you gotta be very, very careful about is not sickling the foot. What we mean by that is coming up to that coupe shape and then shooting the ankle out like this. Very, very dangerous for your ankle. So when you're bringing that leg up, be very careful that you really are thinking about keeping your weight on the insides of both feet, even the one that's not on the ground. I'm focusing on keeping my weight centered here towards the inside of my shoe so that it just stays nice and parallel, perpendicular to the ground, parallel to my standing leg. So here's your quick challenge. I just demonstrated that you can do the exercise without a horn, and that's what I want to see for a very basic level. If you think you have a very solid understanding of this exercise, then feel free, stick a horn in hand and try it again. See if you can maintain your posture all the way through and really start to isolate those body parts. Slightly engaging the core, slightly engaging some of your leg muscles, but engaging like nothing extra. No extra tension, standing up nice and tall, nice and strong. Let's give it a shot. Here's your challenge. Five, 6, 7, 8, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4. And there's your challenge. For either version, whichever one you decide to do, whichever one you decide to submit, make sure that you're thinking about taking all the counts, dividing the space evenly so you're not rushing the counts. We can't have 1, 2, 3, 4 and really, really fast or really, really slow. Make sure you're trying to divide the space evenly through all 4 counts. Up, 2, 3, 4. On 4, you're finally reaching the top. Down, 2, 3, 4. Foot does not come in contact with the ground until count 4. Now, there's a very, very excessive challenge that if you really, really think that you have what it takes to try to complete this, you can give this a shot. Check this out. 5, 6, 7, 8, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4, and up and off. 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4. Now let's say if you want to do that challenge, only do it twice. That way you're not trying to overload yourself with too much information. But that is our up and 4, down and 4 exercise. Try it first with no horn in hand. If you feel like you got it, try to end with a horn in hand. If you feel like you got that, try your horn moves. Let's get to work.
Hey everybody! Today we're going to be learning the Around the World posture exercise. This exercise involves taking the points of isolation that we identified in Hindu and moving them into a second plane of motion. The first plane being what we already established in Hindu, which involved collapsing and building up those points of isolation and alignment over our y-axis. But what this new exercise is going to do is take those points and move them into the x-axis as well. Okay, so we're going to start this exercise in our basic neutral posture, feet shoulder width apart, making sure we're lifting up the weight of our upper body out of our hips, doing this by engaging our abs. Shoulders are down and back, and chin is slightly up over the horizon. First thing we are going to do is take our right ear and direct it down towards our right shoulder. Make sure that we don't confuse this motion with bringing our shoulder to our ear. The shoulder is not involved yet. You're just focusing on the isolation of the head. So we're going to have ear pointing towards shoulder, chin to the chest, coming around to the other shoulder, and then ending with the head back. We're going to do this on a 4-count structure, so it's going to look like this in time. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool? We're going to do that twice one way, twice the other way. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. That's the first part. Next, we're going to be incorporating the shoulders. We're going to use the motion we established in Hindu of taking our shoulders and rolling them forward and then back in the sockets as our basis for this. The only difference here being that we're going to be taking it on the circle with our head. Make sure as you're doing this, you're keeping your torso straight because we want to create a clear distinction between the shoulders and the upper body, and the torso is not included until the upper body, so make sure we're keeping it as still as possible. We're going to do this motion in the same count structure as we did with the head. So starting going towards the right, doing it twice, coming around the other way, it's going to look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, other way. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and we're done. Moving on to the upper back, it's going to start with the very same guiding principles as the other two movements we've just done, except now we're going to be fully engaging the torso, letting that spine collapse over a little bit more rather than engaging it minimally, trying to engage it as little as possible. This third iteration starts to take the back, bring it into the equation, going for fuller range of motion. That's the upper back, very straightforward. Then, next, going on to the lower back, same exact thing, except now, instead of rolling our spine halfway, we're going to let it roll all the way through. We're going to hang over our hips. And the full range of motion for this part should look like so. Here I am over my hips. All of the other principles are still working. Shoulders are rolling forward, my upper back is rolling forward, my head and neck are rolling forward through this. And then to finish off, we're going to add our legs into the equation. As we come down to the count 2 to the bottom point, we're going to have our knees fully bent. Just like in the Hindu, we're going to have our fingers brush across the ground as we do this. So the final iteration, the full range of motion for this exercise is going to look like coming back the other way. And there it is. Make sure as we go through this exercise, we're using very controlled motion. We want even motion from one point to the next to the next. We don't want any sort of big suspension and release. We'll get to that in later videos, but for right now, I want this exercise to be completely smooth, completely even through the larger range of motion. Cool. Now I'm going to demonstrate the whole thing for you with some music so you can get a better idea of what it's going to look like.
Thought that I was stronger. Ready to change. But when I find the strength to rise up, all the pieces get rearranged.
screen already, so I guess it's not a surprise anymore. We're going to be breaking down some tendus and dégagés. Both of these are staple dance technique moves that we have in our activity and on the visual side of things. And really what we're going to be doing is breaking them down. That way we have these elements for success for later that we can build onto and just do by themselves, and they look great. So let's get right into it. First thing we're going to do is make sure that we're standing in a nice, tall, balanced, strong posture like we broke down last week that we've all been working on, right? So we're going to make sure that we're tall, standing upright with our core engaged, everything's balanced. We're not going to be able to move or do anything with our legs, with our motion, if we're not standing in a balanced way. So that being said, I want you to right now focus on your standing leg. Right now we'll call that our right leg, because we'll start with the left leg like we always do, you know? Bam. So we're going to focus on that weight through the right leg, pushing down in the ground to push up with our body. Feel the weight in all four corners of your right foot. So really, really feel that right now. Engage the core and kind of feel weightless in your left leg. But really all of your weight is in your right leg, which is our standing leg right now. It'll change later. So the first thing we're going to do is take our left ankle bone and draw it forward. In a straight line, we're going to draw it forward, and our toes are going to lightly massage the ground as we do this. Ready? So if you see, my ankle bone is coming forward and my toes are sweeping the ground. I'll do that one more time. So if I had something drawn on my ankle bone right here, you'd all be able to read it. Go ahead and do this with me. Just break down this one motion right here. Isolate that, but we're not sinking into this right hip while we do that. We're not going like this. We're making sure we're standing tall and elevated, pushing down to the ground while we do this with the left leg. Right there. We're engaging our core. Okay, let's do that a few more times. And start thinking ahead right now. The next thing we're going to do is a dégagé, which is essentially going to be a continuation of this motion, being brought up, taking the foot, having it being brought up off the ground. So make sure we have enough energy in this left foot where if we just extended the motion on forward, it would just lift right off the ground, right? Enough energy in that foot. Okay, now we're going to go to the side. With the side tendus, there's two different ways to do it, but we're going to define the way we're doing it. So we have a turnout in our left foot already. We're just going to keep that turnout and bring our leg directly 90 degrees to the side, right? So we're tenduing directly to the side. Not at a 45, that's going to be the one misconception that we have. Our turnout is at a 45, but we're bringing our leg out in that turnout 90 degrees. Ready? So it's going to come out to the side. Do this with me. My heel right here, this last point on my heel where we articulate when we step, that we'll get into next week, that very edge of the heel is going to draw a line. Draw a line that's perpendicular to the other point on my heel. Notice that you can still see my ankle bone. You can still see that message that's being written. I'm maintaining my turnout. It's just going to the side. And what's my standing leg doing? Is it dropping? Am I dropping my weight into it, or am I lifting up out of it? Think about that. Okay, let's go on to the right side. So now our standing leg has changed. All of our weight is in our left leg right now. So our right leg is weightless. We're lifting up, and we can go to the front again. Same exact concept, just mirrored on the other side. Our right ankle bone is going to be brought straight out so you can see anything that's written on my leg. And let's think about this part of the toes, the bottom, let's say the bottom 4 toes, right? Not the big toe, but the other 4. Really sweeping the ground, not digging into the ground, but just lightly massaging the ground. Like if you're standing on a puppy or something. No, that's horrible. Don't stand on a puppy. If you're standing on like a nice rug and you just want to like, sweep it. Okay, let's take it out to the side. Same thing. We're drawing a straight line with our toe out to the side, and we're maintaining that weight and elevation in our standing leg. All right, now let's bring this one step forward into our dégagé. So our dégagé, I'm gonna do this from the side. Our dégagé is just going to be, like I said, an expansion off of the tendu. So we're going to do our tendu just as we would, with enough energy to bring that leg off the ground, just like we're a plane and we're taking off or something like that. So we're going into our tendu, and then we're sweeping, and then our leg is just going to come off the ground a little bit, right? So our standing leg is nice and strong, and there's energy, right? We're just sweeping it off the ground. Do that a couple times with me. You can even do it out to the side. I'll turn around. The tendency here is going to be really to sink into the standing leg. So let's pay attention. Place our focus on our standing leg hip and where that hip is going. Is it jutting out a little bit, even slightly, or are we having it nice right in this alignment that we have already centered? So let's try it out to the side, to the front. All right, we can try it again with the right leg. What is our standing leg doing? Where's our weight? Our core, engaging our core is going to help us a lot with this. So this is our dégagé. When we're going back to our tendus, really make sure that when we have our tendus, that we're putting enough energy into that tendu that it could be a dégagé if it wanted to be, but just holding off. You know, we don't want to ever put less than enough energy. More energy is always better, but we can always cap that energy instead of asking for more later. All right, let's break down these counts. So the first unit of this exercise is going to be a 3-unit exercise, and you'll see what I mean by that in just a second. But our first unit is going to be a phrase with 4 counts of a tendu. So we're going to take 4 counts to get into our front tendu. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Now counts 5 and 6. 5 and 6 I've intentionally placed here so that we can check where our weight is. We have 2 counts that we're going to use specifically for corrections. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, hit, check 5, 6, 5, 6, pull all the way into the midline. Where's our weight? 5, 6, and we're going to zip up 7, 8 back into first position. 7, 8. Okay? Then we're going to do the same exact thing to the left side now. So we have tendu to the left for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bring 7, 8 to the middle. 7, 8. We're doing exactly this. Repeat it on the right side now with the right leg. So now all of our weight is in the left leg, and our right leg is pretty weightless, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Correction. Bring it back in. 7, 8. 7, 8. Now to the right at the 90. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cool. Now let's go on to our unit 2 of this phrase, which is going to be the 2 count phrase. We're going to tendu forward in 2 counts now. So we have 1, 2. Now we have 3, 4 to hold. This is marking the same exact intention as before. The 3, 4 is going to be to pull everything into the midline to engage the core, to feel where the weight is in the standing leg, so we know what our correction is going to be on the next rep. So it's going to be, to reiterate, 1, 2, hold 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now to the left. 1, 2, hold 3, 4, 5, 6, hold 7, 8. Now the 7, 8, the reason behind the 7, 8 is to really reset where our weight is in our first position, so we know what it's like every time we have the opportunity to reset into our first position, which we won't always have, but in this specific phrase we do. We're noticing what it feels like to be from a balance, to move from a balanced posture in first position to somewhere where our weight is being split between our feet, or where our weight is completely on one leg and not the other, like in our tendu. So now, that being said, we're going to go to the right side with this same exact phrase. So we're going to go 1, 2, hit on 2, hold 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold 7, 8. Now for the dégagés, our counts are going to be slightly different. I'm going to do this from this angle so you can see where the foot is being lifted off the ground. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do we notice how we have like a pendulum motion, like a swing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. counts 1 and 5, we're really taking the same energy that we have with the tendu, but we're putting it a little more into the end so that it lifts right off the ground. Our foot is being lifted right off the ground like a plane taking off. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That energy is coming from the back of the leg, engaging right back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the top of the thigh right here. Those two muscles are really being engaged to make sure that we can propel our foot off the ground in these dégages. So that exercise is going to start with those counts going to the front in a tendu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then to the side at the 90 degrees, the left foot still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're doing exactly the same thing with the right leg, forward and then to the 90. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so the way that this exercise is going to work, remember when I was like, oh, I'm gonna tell you in a second. Well, this is the second that I'm telling you from before. So we're gonna have unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. Our unit 1 is our 4-count phrase in the tendu where we're going forward in 4 counts, stopping, and then coming back. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's unit 1. That whole phrase, to the left, to the right, unit 1. Then unit 2 is going to be the 2-count phrase. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold 7, 8. Remember that? That's unit 2. Now unit 3 is the dégages that we just did. With the dégages, we're actually going to turn around on the dégages and repeat it. So what I mean by that is we're going to do unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, turn around, unit 2, unit 1, and then we're finished with the exercise. I challenge you in this exercise to complete it to a song that you like, that you vibe into, that is at a tempo that's comfortable for you. So what I'm going to do right now is record it to a song that I like, that's a comfortable tempo that I think that we can all achieve this at. But if you want to challenge yourself and achieve this maybe at a faster tempo, that's fine too, so long as you achieve it at this tempo first and are nice and solid. But even if this song might be necessarily too fast or something that we're not quite proficient at yet, that's totally fine. Pick a song that you like that's a little bit slower, or if you don't like the song that I have picked out, go ahead and pick a different song. That's totally fine with me. But let's go ahead and get these videos turned in. Let's do as many takes as necessary as it takes to really turn in a solid video that we can give you some really good feedback on, so we can all turn around and have a really good season.
Pliets! They're a great way to warm up your legs, and a tool that you need to succeed in the world of marching band choreography. But before we get ahead of ourselves here, we have to talk about something called leg articulation before we fully dive into the concept of the plie. When we talk about leg articulation, we are basically referring to what direction our legs are facing. The hip is a ball and socket joint, meaning your femur, actually this is your femur, connects to your hip and can do this. Boop, 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 boop. To feel this, go ahead, stand on one foot and wave high to me with the other one. Notice how we don't wave high like this. Like, don't just swivel your ankle. No one's waving high to you like. But do a nice, authentic hello with your beautiful feet and legs. So now that we've identified how this works, this joint here operates, we can begin to talk about the two different kinds of leg articulation we will be dealing with. The first one of these we're going to talk about is parallel. I don't need to speak too much about this. We've already used it as the basis for some of our exercises already, but I want you to take notice how your feet, your knees, and the tops of your femurs are all pointing in one direction. This is a really important concept to grasp because it carries over into when we turn out our leg. When we go from parallel into turnout, we have to rotate all of these same points so that they stay in line with each other. You can't just splay your feet out and have your knees still facing forward. That's really, really bad for you. So when we shift from parallel into turnout, we need to make sure that those points, the heads of your femurs, your knees, and your feet are all pointing the same direction out away from your body. So there you have it. That's your breakdown of pliés for the time being. As you work on these, make sure that your feet are always remaining in full contact with the floor. It's a very common error to, as you sink down, to let the heel peel up a little bit. We do not want that. That is something different than we are doing here. We want our heel to stay firmly planted into the ground as we go down and as we come up.